I think when you make those deals, you make those trades, and certainly I'm, not the boss here, but I think Breza said you have to get uncomfortable. And those types of deals are uncomfortable, but hopefully at the end of the day, our job is to make the major league team in Boston Red Sox a World Series contender, and that's the goal. So,
all right, here we go. Brian Abrahams, the Senior Director of Player Development for the Boston Red Sox, joining us right now on FT. Brian, appreciate the time, man, and we love having people like you on the show. So thanks for taking the time. And just first off, can you explain what you do? And then we give everyone context on what we're going to ask you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Good to see everyone. Farm director, oversee all of our minor league development, player development, coaches, players, making sure that the players we acquire, whether through international signings, the draft, free agency on the minor league side, have goals and a plan to ultimately reach the big leagues and can impact our major league roster. So about player development, staff development, and basically providing that pipeline for our big league team to have success year in and year out.
And have you been able to fill my role since I left? For our FT fans, I was probably one of the most pivotal Red Sox employees of all time. That I know it's been tough. I know it's been tough for you to fill my role, but have you been able to since I departed at the end of 21?
We have not. I think it was one of my first hires when I became farm director. So, once you left and joined the media biz, it's been big shoes to fill. So we're still looking. Hopefully we can find someone, but you left a mark, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's because you guys, the Red Sox made the playoffs that year. I'm just saying, the Red Sox made the playoffs that year when I was in the org getting stuff done. Just saying, AJ. Just saying.
I'm just going to say this. I'm going to be 100% transparent. I had no idea who the hell we were interviewing right now. And then his face popped on the screen, and I'm like, he was our bullpen catcher. And now he's the director. I'm like, wait a minute. That's Abe's. I'm like, no way. I had no idea. I swear to God, I had no idea. No idea. I didn't look it up.
Bad teammate.
No idea. I'm like,
bad teammate.
Not bad teammate.
That's all right.
Not bad
teammate.
You're big time now, AJ. Even more big time than when you were a player. So I get it.
Apparently, you've moved way up the list. All right, listen. If you want to be a big league something, you be my bullpen catcher. Rick Eckstein, hitting coach extraordinaire, Team USA coach. Abe's, look at him go. I mean, there's a whole long list of my bullpen catchers that have moved up. Now, when I saw your face, I literally was like, is that the same person? No way. So congratulations to you. I'm going to let you and Kratz have your love fest now, and I'm going to step aside.
Thank you.
AJ needs to have some questions here because he called you his bullpen catcher. Like the team assigned. Did you feel like you were one of his underlings when he was on the team? Did you feel like you had to go and get him water? Hey, finish my bullpen. Hey, no, it's February 3rd.
No.
I'm not showing up. It's okay. This is a safe space, BA.
No, AJ was great. I do think the bullpen catcher job, it's a bit of a grind. You do have to provide water and towels and play catch. I think there are a few times I protected his son.
That is bull.
I protected his son.
You know why that's bull? No, that's probably true. Abe, you probably did that. But I will say this, and I know Kratz didn't do this. Yeah, Scott just got me some water. Thanks, Scott. But I will say this, Kratz, and I know Kip didn't have to do this. I always tip my bullpen catchers at the end of the year, too, for catching the bullpens. And when I got released from Boston, I made sure I gave Mani and Abe's a check. So, Kratz, beat it.
I was the bullpen catcher, kid. Don't worry about it. BA, actually, you didn't get him his job, okay? BA actually threw his first ever BP session to me in Toronto as just an absolute green behind the ears. Yes?
True. Bradenton, Florida, 2007, long time ago. But you were the first. I remember it like it was yesterday. I think I survived. I made it through, and the rest is history, I guess.
It is. And let's start talking about the history. Let's start talking about the fact that we know the big league team, there's a lot of things going around with the big league team in the minor leagues. What you and your staff have developed is top of the mark in baseball right now. Do you feel like it is something that you perceived or you saw this coming, that, hey, when we do these things, when we put these people in positions to impact these players, did you feel like it was going to take Boston to the number 1 or number 2 slot, whichever writer is writing about it in minor league baseball?
I think that's the hope. I think you try to hire really good people, innovative people, people that are willing to challenge themselves and, what they know about the game and what they've been taught. And then obviously it's a collaborative effort with all of our scouts, all of our analysts, and bringing in the right players, and then putting a plan in place for each individual player to provide them an opportunity to get better. But I think the biggest thing is just our group challenging the norms, challenging maybe what we thought has been done and has been done for years, and maybe doing things a little bit differently, understanding what we value and what drives success at the major league level, and then training our players to improve in those areas. So definitely a group effort. A lot of, obviously all the credit goes to the players. We have a ton of good players, good people, guys that are willing to challenge themselves, work hard and push each other. But that comes with culture that comes from the top, the organization, with resources and support from leadership. And we're really lucky to have a really good group these days, and one that pushes each other, and I think always trying to get better on a daily basis.
Now, one thing I'm seeing here that I like that I'm reading is that you meet with all your prospects twice a year, which is nice because from my memory, it's normally like, hey, it might be in passing, like, how are things going, Kip, or like, everything good, and like that. You sit down with each prospect twice a year. Whose idea was that, and what time during the year do you do it? Do you do it middle of the season, end of year?
Yeah, good question. I actually, we do it more than that. We do in spring training. We meet with every player in spring training, talk to them about their off season, their goals moving forward, how they view themselves. And then we talk about our plan for them and what we feel like can get them better. And it's not just us telling them what to do. It's them buying in. It's them understanding what they want to do, how they want to improve. Because at the end of the day, it's really ownership of the players, their career. If they're not going to buy in, if they don't believe in what they're training to do, if they don't believe in our programming, then it's hard to get better. So spring training, and then multiple times per year, we try to meet with every player once a month. Our affiliate staff, along with leadership, via the way things are now, we can do it via Zoom, via Teams, and then toward the end of the year as well, talking about off-season goals. So we're really transparent with information, really transparent with goals, are very honest with our players about where they are, and I think in today's game we track a lot of information. We use a lot of objective information to show where guys are, where they're progressing, and potentially where they're regressing as well, and what they need to improve upon. So I think it's all about honesty. I think you guys, Jason, Eric, and AJ, like, you guys are all players. I think honesty, to me, is so valuable in today's game, being very transparent with the player, where they stand, where they see them, what they ultimately need to do to make that next step in their career. And I think when you do that, you get a lot of buy-in.
I love it. I think you'll get way more out of an honest meeting than that kind of just run-of-your-mill generic conversation with a player development guy. Now, you hinted on the constructive criticism side of the honesty. When you say you get specific, are you saying, hey, you're striking out too much, we want to see you cut down on this as a hitter, or you're walking too many guys as a pitcher? Are you getting into the nitty-gritty of it, of stats maybe, or specific stuff on the field that you want to see improvement of?
Yeah, we have certain, performance indicators that we value and that we educate our players about. So they're very well aware of how they're being evaluated. And then, there are sub indicators that I think track how those larger areas will improve. And we let our players know where they are relative to each other, relative to the rest of the league, and where they need to improve upon. So, it does sometimes get as detailed as K rate, as strikeout rate. Also, we have some larger valuations, such as, bat speed, bat to ball, swing decisions as well, which are incredibly important. So, and the same with on the pitching side too, be able to throw strikes, fastball velo, stuff, all those things. We have different areas to evaluate on. And I think a big thing is just education for our players, letting players know what we as an organization value and what they're being evaluated on, so they know what they need to improve upon on a daily basis. And then again, just tracking them, giving them information on a daily basis, and then over a season, over multiple seasons, and seeing how they can progress. And it allows us to make adjustments too. So it's great to give players a plan, but if they don't see progress, or they don't see improvements, it's really hard for them to buy in. So with the information, with the transparency, it allows us to give those plans and give our programming with feedback, and allows, again, that buy-in, that trust, that understanding of why we're asking them to do particular things.
Abes, do you do this with every player? Because I know times have changed, but I remember in the minor leagues, the GM would come in, the field coordinator would come in, and you could always definitely tell who was the prospects, right? Like you knew. You were like, they wouldn't spend as much time with the 28-year-old first baseman that was in A-ball as they would with Torrey Hunter, right? So do you do this for every player in your organization? And do you personalize it for every player and say, okay, you're this guy, we need you to be this. This is how you're going to get to the major leagues? Or is it just, I know you do it for every player, but how personalized do you get? Because let's be honest, there's just some guys that aren't going to make it, and that it's just the way it happens.
Yeah, I think we try to be very individualized. And, for me personally, in my role, I try to be as personable as I can and try to get to know every player individually. We have, including the Dominican, 240 plus players. So it's certainly difficult to have those individual conversations with everyone. But I think that's one of the best things about our organization, about our staff. We have a system in place where our coaches in the field level, our coordinators get to know our players probably a little bit more than myself. But then, again, I think the meetings are very individualized. We really try to get down and dirty with what these players need to do to get better. And sometimes the conversations with some of maybe the players that need to improve upon more are a little bit more honest and a little bit more real, saying, hey, if you want to be a big leaguer, you really need to make a dramatic change. If you want to be a big leaguer, you really need to throw harder. You really need to swing the bat faster. Those are certainly some conversations that we have. And the reality is there are prospects and there are some players that probably aren't going to make the impact of the big leagues. But I would say, like probably any farm director would say, having a high floor and having players that are working hard consistently, even that aren't the top prospects, create a environment and a system that allows players to compete day in and day out, push each other, and create a culture where everyone's trying to get better. And at the end of the day, if you have everyone trying to get better, the guys at the bottom could potentially create value for you in a trade or maybe just minor league depth, and then the players at the top can continue to provide depth for you at the big leagues and impact maybe in a trade as well as we've seen. So I think we try to be as individualized as possible. There is a time piece to this. It certainly is hard, but I think we do the best we can to make sure we're as personal as we can with each player.
As an athlete, I care about what I put in my body, especially when it comes to protein. But can we also get some protein that tastes good? Come on, it's 2025.
Todd, that's why this podcast is sponsored by Orgain. Orgain believes real nutrition has the power to make a real difference in people's lives, and it tastes so good. Orgain's new 30-gram complete protein shakes offer protein-packed real nutrition designed to satisfy your cravings without any added sugar. They're also an excellent source of premium ultra-filtered protein with all 9 essential amino acids.
FT loves Orgain, and you'll often see it on the desk in the studio as we fuel up before and during the show. We love it for muscle support, recovery, and more.
Remember, there are no quick fixes when it comes to your health. If you want more protein, give Orgain 30-gram protein shakes a try. Head to Orgain.com/FOUL30 and use code FOUL30 for 30% off your order. That's the best offer you'll find, but you have to use the code FOUL30 for 30% off.
What if they don't agree with you? I think you guys just got a prospect that was a switch hitter, and I think you guys said he's not a switch hitter. How do you handle that type of situation? Maybe not that specific because it's a personal thing for him. But
sorry,
oh, they traded him.
Trade him.
Oh, that's right.
He wants to be
Thanks for burying the lead.
Yeah,
that's what we do.
Oops.
Thanks for burying the lead, Scott.
I mean, it happens. It happens. Again, I think, the honesty, the transparency, providing information to show these players why we believe in something. And at the end of the day, like I said, the player needs to believe in what they're doing. And sometimes it might be a player disagreeing and saying, I want to do it this way. At the end of the day, the player needs to buy into whatever work they're working toward, whatever goals they're working toward. And if they do, they're with our coaching staff, with the training that we have, they're going to get better. So maybe it might not be the primary goal that we might have for them, but if they're trying to get better at something, that's a real positive. And at the end of the day, I think that's ultimately what we're trying to get out of every player. The hope is we can provide enough information, enough education that players are going to understand why we want them to work on particular goals. But at different points in different players' careers, there are different things that they need to work on. It's not always a physical piece in the batting cage or the mound. It could be in the weight room. It could be on the mental side. It could be a role at the upper levels, a player maybe who's playing every day who might be utilized in a utility role in the big league. So I think it's just listening to the player, being honest with the player, and just understanding that, again, it's their career. We are there to support them. And at the end of the day, we want to do everything we can to allow them to get better. And we're on their side. I think that's really, really important. We want them to be really good big leaguers. We want them to have a ton of success. We want them to make a lot of money and win a lot of World Series in Boston. So whatever that takes, we're here to support them.
Can you talk about some of the guys that got traded, some of the guys that got traded in the most recent Crochet trade, but also add in your feeling about it? Because, yes, I know you want the Boston Red Sox to ultimately be the best team, but when you have guys that are come up through your organization, drafted by you, you see you and hear about them when they're drafted, and then they ultimately get traded away. What's your feeling on that? I won't tell you your feeling. What is your feeling on that? But first, talk about the dudes that you lost.
Yeah, I mean, obviously really good players and certainly going to miss them, but that's obviously the reason why we were able to get a high-end pitcher that's going to impact our rotation in the future, this year and in the future. So, Kyle Teal, Braden Montgomery, Wilkerman Gonzalez, and Chase Mydroth, all unique in their own ways. I think all different players, but I would just say player development, what I love about player development is it is one of the few places in this game where the personal relationships and getting to know people and understanding people and who they are and what drives them is incredibly valuable and still means a lot because as we all know, there is a physical piece to this, but there's so much more to having success in the major leagues than just physical tools. And there's been plenty of first rounders who don't have success. And there's been plenty of players that get drafted late in the draft that have a ton of success because maybe they didn't have the best physical tools, but they were able to handle adversity or they were able to make adjustments or they got stronger and got faster. So I think getting to know those guys on a personal level, again, our amateur side, the international side, has done such an amazing job of getting really good, talented players, but really good people that want to work hard, that are willing to challenge themselves and make adjustments. So to lose, players like Kyle and Chase, who I've gotten to know really well, and then Wilkerman, who's been with us since a young international free agent signing, and then Braden, who had only been with us for a short time, but was really exciting to see. It's tough. It certainly is. But I think when you make those deals, you make those trades, and certainly I'm, not the boss here, but I think Breza said you have to get uncomfortable. And those types of deals are uncomfortable, but hopefully at the end of the day, our job is to make the major league team in Boston Red Sox a World Series contender, and that's the goal. So I think the White Sox got four really good players, four players that are going to impact their organization in a bunch of different ways on and off the field. And certainly tough to see those guys go, but that's a part of this game. And I know we'll continue to do our best to fill in their spots here with the Red Sox and provide more opportunities for the players that we currently have.
Well, you missed the first earlier part of our show where natural tools is all you need to be in the big leagues. AJ could show up the day before spring training and just stay in. That's all he needed to do to last in the big leagues. So I know it hurts to let some of those guys go, especially when you watch them develop. Then, so let's flip it and get a little bit more positive here. Who are you excited about the most that's coming up? What are some names that we need to be on the lookout who are knocking on the door that we're going to be seeing in Boston here soon?
Yeah, it's hard to not talk about Roman Anthony, Christian Campbell, and Marcelo Meyer right off the top. Three position players that have worked their way up through our organization that are really good kids, really hard workers, leaders in this organization. I think, again, I was telling someone yesterday down at Red Sox Fantasy Camp, as a farm director, everything that you could dream of for someone to represent the Boston Red Sox, those three. Boston is a city that thrives on winning championships. they thrive on hard work and dedication and commitment to the team, the city. And I think those three really represent that. So to see them progress, see them develop in the minor leagues has been great to see. And I think too, like they all know there's still ways to go for them to be impact major leaguers. They've done a great job so far, but again, there's still ways to go. They still have different areas and goals that they need to improve upon, but we're really excited about their progress. And again, it's not the only thing, but the fact that they're good kids and want to get better and are really good teammates, I think does a lot for the players around them, the teammates around them, because a World Series isn't one, an organization isn't built on just one or two players. It's built on a group of players that are able to sustain success over multiple years. And I think when you have your best players competing, when you have your best players, maybe struggling at times and wanting to get better and finding ways to improve, that sets the tone for the rest of the group. So I think really excited about those three. Luis Perales is a pitcher that we have that had Tommy John last year, but is one of our top end arms, electric stuff. Couple guys that are coming to our rookie program this weekend in Boston. Hunter Dobbins, who just got added to the 40-man, a young starting pitcher. David Sandlin, who got in a trade from Kansas City last year, a starting pitcher in Double-A. Justinson Garcia, an outfielder plus defender, really impacts the baseball. So, those guys are kind of towards the top of the organization. We have a really young, exciting group of players in the lower levels as well. Franklin Arias, Yoenis Cespedes, Giovanni Monegro. I think the list goes on. We're really excited about the group of players we have. And again, that's why player development is so exciting. There's a plethora of players that we can get to improve and hopefully make an impact in Boston in the near future.
All right, Dave, before I let you go, I just got to say this. Breslow was on the same team I was, and last time I saw him was in Yankee Stadium last year. He said he would come on the show. So when you see him, tell him to respond to Kratz's text and come on the show. Okay, that's it. I mean, I went out of my way to go to Breslow's charity event, okay? And I got a great shirt out of it. So it was very nice of you.
Kratz has been texting me nonstop to come on the show, so I'm happy I was able to make it because I think he was going to continue to harass me, but it's
he will.
Yeah, I'm sure he still will, but it's okay. I like Eric. He's a good one.
Unless the Red Sox organization or farm system goes in the pot, we're not inviting any player development dudes that's like 25th in baseball, nothing like that. Like we're not inviting you. But my last question is about your clothes. How many quarter zips now that you're in this job? This is your 5th year. How many quarter zips you got now?
I try to mix it up. I consider myself a young 40. I got an 11-year-old son. I try to stay hip and cool. So I'm not always a quarter zip guy. I might do button down untucked Jordans. I'm a jeans guy. So I try to stay somewhat casual in the front office setting, but I do have more quarter zips than I had as a bullpen catcher. I'm a hoodie guy too. Can't go wrong with a hood. But I try to mix it up for sure. I try to stay cool. I see some of our guys now. I feel old seeing some of our guys dress these days. I don't understand style, but I try to be a cool 40.
Well, thanks for coming on AJ's show. Since you were his bullpen catcher, so he wouldn't have to do everything. Thanks for coming on his show. Scott is now his water boy, so don't feel like you're not taken care of anymore.
I just want to be a future farm director.
Just get Brez on, okay? Just tell Brez that now I'm going to start going Kratz on him. I'm going to go Kratz on him. Just text him every day until he comes on.
Yep. Please don't do that.
Done.
Please don't do that.
I'll say it's from BA.
Thanks for having me.
I'll say it's from BA.
Thanks, Brian. This was great, though. Super informative. We love doing this stuff.
Thanks, Abe.
So, in all seriousness.
Good seeing you again, too, by the way. Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.